Okay, just a few words. First of all, I just want to say a few words about the name of the seminary as we get started. Shaarei. Now, the first thing I want everybody to know is that it's not a beauty salon. Shaarei. Yeah. The second thing is that it is. It's not a Chinese restaurant either. For those of you who aren't sure. No, really. First of all. I want to say something just briefly about the word of Chen. You know, out of the Yud Gimel Midos, so one of the 13 Yud Gimel Midos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Sinai was Hanun. It says, Kel Hanun v'Rachum. And if you look at the Vilna Gaon's Perish on these Yud Gimel Midos, so he says, what is Hanun? So he says, Hanun is from the Lashon Chen, which usually is type of grace, you know. But he says, Hanun is like, it comes from the word Chinam also, a free gift. And he says a very interesting thing. He says, it's beautiful, it says, when we say Hanun, he says that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, every one of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's creations, so it has like a type of charm, which means HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a type of intrinsic love for everything that he created. He says, just like the love of a father for a son, it's something basic and intrinsic that has no rational explanation. It's just because of what it is, it inspires, you know, a child. No matter what it does, a child inspires a sort of deep and basic love, you know, in a father or a parent or a mother that really can never be erased. And he says, so also when we start talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu's rachamim, his mercy, so when you try to remember that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, because it's a creation of Hashem's, it has a sort of integral and natural beauty to it, and a certain grace, a charm before HaKadosh Baruch Hu that inspires him a very deep love. It's sort of a basic idea about what Klal Yisrael is all about. And I was thinking that perhaps it has something to do, you know, Shaarei Chen, it has something to do with perhaps the idea of a Shana Bet program in the seminary that we sort of want to start, which is, you know, as I say, I think all of us, you know, here, when we have seminaries and we spend a lot of time teaching, and I think, you know, partially the reason for that is because we all see in all of you and basically in all of Klal Yisrael a sort of deep intrinsic value, you know, and it's something that it's sort of a profound idea, really, the idea of, you know, of actually working with people and working with young people and actually beginning to try to sort of bring out that deep, you know, beauty of what's sort of the basis of, you know, what Klal Yisrael is all about, that sort of deep intrinsic beauty and value that exists, you know, in all of us. But like all things, it's not so easy to actually bring it out. It takes work, it takes siyata d'shmaya, it takes effort in a certain way and time to actually bring out, you know, those intrinsic qualities that, you know, are so basic, and especially in a time where it's so difficult to actually see, you know, the value in another human being, to see the value, what a human being is really all about. For most of us, it's sort of blind to it. So, you know, the idea that people should be here and come and spend a couple of years to be able to work on that, you know, as I say, it's something actually very powerful, something that, you know, Rabbi Rosenstein and I have spoken about, you know, for quite a few years when we were rooming together in Poland. You know, what do we talk about at night? So we try to figure out, you know, like, what should we do, you know, what's the next year? I don't know, whatever comes up, you know. And anyway, this is sort of a fruit of some of our discussions there. Now, I want to say something about this thing. You know, there's an interesting thing about, you know, we say, the kol davar yesh eis. There's such a thing as, for everything, there's a specific time. You know, it says in Koheles, there's a time for everything. You know, Eis Lir Kod. I saw yesterday one person said Eis Lir Kod. It's talking about Lag Bomer. There's a certain time to dance. There's a certain time to, you know. In any case, also, so Chazal says an interesting thing about this. They, in life, you know, to be successful in life, what it means is actually every year in life has a specific value and a specific segula, a specific potential to it. And really, what, you know, life is all about is trying to grasp the moment, trying to grasp, you know, what can be done with each different tikuf, each different period of a person's life, and use it appropriately. If you can do that, so then in life you grow and you develop. And when a time comes, you have to grasp it, and if you don't grasp it, it sort of passes. Rav Wolbe used to speak about this a lot when he spoke about the Midah of Zrizus. He used to say that a person in life has to run to keep up with life. Yeah, if you miss a period of time, so it's gone. It says, for example, when a child just begins to read, you have to teach them Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe, right? And it says, he used to say that if you try to teach the child that too early, So then you ruin the child. You start teaching a child to read too early, it's going to hurt his development. And if you wait too late and you decide at the age of 9 to start teaching him Torah, Tzivah, Lanu, Moshe, also you've missed the point. It's not going to go. When he's ready to read, so then you have to say it. And that's true on everything in life. I knew a person once who got married. He was talking about Shana Rishona, and somebody said to him, Shana Rishona is a period of time where you're supposed to spend time with, your wife. This is a guy. He's supposed to spend time with your wife, with your family, building. So once there was a guy I remember speaking to a rabbi, I happened to have been there. So he said, it's Shana Rishona, but you know what, I'm busy this year, right? I have to, I want to learn all the time, then I have to work. I don't really have so much time to actually be home at night. Next year I'll do it. I remember, so the Rav stopped, and he said, you don't understand. Such a thing as Shana Rishona, you have a first year. He goes, if you miss this year, it's gone. You could try to make it up in different ways, but you don't understand, there are certain times in life. And, I was thinking about this. Often, when you think about it, a person's life, especially, all of you, when we come out, so when you graduate from high school, and we're assuming high school is, can be a difficult time. Some people get through it, unscarred. However, I'm saying in general, high school is something where most people through high school are really too young to really take charge of their own spiritual development. They don't have the maturity to do it. It's not, you don't have the kelim to really do it. And the truth is that, when a person gets out of high school, so there's a sort of a brief period, a brief window in a person's life where actually a person is old enough to actually begin the process of spiritual development, and at the same time, is free from, all sorts of different obligations and costs. You don't have a family, people aren't married yet, you don't have to work, you don't have to take care of life's responsibilities. And that period of time, where, as I say, exactly the time a person hits 17, 18, where actually a person is able to take charge of life and grow. If at that point in time you're able to actually use it, to grow spiritually and take the time to develop, to come to seminary, to actually grow. So it's a one-time period in a person's life. And most people, how much time do you have? We say we're getting the end of the year. So how much time do people have to actually work on their spiritual development? What do you have to actually grow in that way? And the answer is that, you have a year, we always say. And when the year is gone, so most people are off, and you're going to college, and already life is starting, and you have to start working on grades, and you're in a different environment. And, and people know when you leave seminary and go to college and you go back, so it's not the same anymore. You're in a different period of life. It's a different period altogether, and there isn't the same potential there to actually grow like you have in Eretz Yisrael. In general, the truth is, even I always say about seminary that, usually when I think about seminary, my main idea is that all I want to do over here is like not ruin something. Any girl who comes to Eretz Yisrael and on her own just allows her to experience Eretz Yisrael itself is going to transform in a very powerful way. Half of my avoda is just trying to not ruin it, so that people could actually develop properly. It's like, and that's not easy to do. Now, so what happens like this? However, the problem is like this. Often, like a first year goes, and people work, and it doesn't come so easily. Often what happens is that, and this is what happens, we've heard this over and over again, that, sometimes people come, and, first year there's a lot going on, and even for people who have a proper, a good year, a very powerful year, but, there's a general idea, as it says, there's sort of 3 stages in a person's in development, corresponds to stages like in planting. There's plowing, sowing, and reaping, harvesting. And the truth is that most times, for most people, I think, in Shana Aleph, so Shana Aleph is actually a period of Harisha Vizriya. Harisha means plowing is you have to remove all of the obstacles that keep you from growing, right? All of the people who have bad high school experiences, and you have to sort of move beyond that. All the people that are working, you have to spend a lot of time, plowing and preparing the land. And then what happens, you go through a whole year, and you're Zoreya, and that's what happens, really you don't realize, but the whole year in Shana Aleph, it's really a process of planting seeds. You're actually hearing things, and one thing after another, and there are things now, when you leave, you're actually in a state now that what you've had, you're able to grow, you're able to develop. And the problem is, all you need now is Katsira. All you need now is to harvest what you've done. It's hard to actually, people don't grasp actually in the first year how many things have been planted. It's like hard to grasp. But you're done, you're ready to go further. Only what's the problem? The problem is that to actually have a Katsira harvest properly, you have to have a proper environment to do that, to let these things that have been planted to grow properly. And I know for myself that we've heard a lot of times, especially, I'm sure Rabbi Fix and Rabbi Rosenstein feel like this as well, often you have people and you spend so much effort with people. You all know that's sort of the irony of seminary, that you spend a whole year getting to know people, a whole year working and planning, and finally have a relationship where you're ready to do something, and the year ends, and all of a sudden, somebody else comes. And, but the feeling is, and sometimes people come, and we've had a lot of times people have come and, they've had a whole year, and then afterwards they've left. And they left seminary and asked, where did you go? What did you have? And you went to college, or even you went to another seminary, you went here. And they come back and they said, like the environment that I'm in now, it's not an environment where I could actually continue to, harvest what I've had there. There's so many other things I'm involved in now. I can't do it. I can't find the proper environment to do that. And even, as I said, for the people who are able to go to like other certain Shana Bed programs, a lot of times, we've heard a lot of times people coming, we can't find a place, can't find an environment, a place like Shana Aleph where it was warm enough and people were investing enough to actually harvest and reap and actually make use of what we've done. And especially, you should know at this point in your lives that every year is a huge difference. The difference between somebody who's 18 and somebody who's 19 is another world. Every year, you have no idea how much you change every year at this point of your life. And, to take the second year and actually use it is an incredible opportunity. So, as I said, when we came, and, we come back, and after having so many experiences where we've had, I've spoken to so many people over the years who we've spoken to, and they've come back and said, we haven't been able to actually find an environment that could actually, integrate what we've done. So, Ray Rosenstein and I said that, we have to try to do it ourselves. And that's what we want to try to do over here, to bring out all that's been planted, the chen of, everybody, bring it out. And we said we have to try to do it. Now, and we have to try. And we have ideas, we hope, and that's what we really want to do over here. We want to try to build that type of place, a real seminary, not a place where people are involved in other things, but a real, like almost, a real seminary, Shana Bed experience, which will be a warm experience, a place where we have a chabur of people together, working, on spiritual growth together, the staff that cares, and there's going to be a lot of intellectual growth and a lot of spiritual growth. And at the same time, we'll give people the option in that environment to continue and, go through college, to continue in that way. And, that's what we spoke about, that's what we want to try to do over here. And as I said before, because as I say, that's really what Shana Bed is all about. It's a harvest of everything had in Shana Aleph and more. And we hope for this year that we're going to be able to create that environment, and anybody who wants to and is able to come back and, continue that experience. So we hope here that we're able to come to this program, and if HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps us, we're able to create that type of program that really able to bring out, the true chen of everyone involved.